So it's just after 5 a.m. here, and we're going to be taking a little walk around the village. And I'd like to cover a couple of things that have come up on the channel recently. I haven't done many like Q&As and things like that as we've been making content here on the channel. Mainly I've been focusing about the solar and interviewing expats. I thought I'd take this opportunity to jump on the vlog and really address two main things that I've seen coming up in the comments. These include, why don't you see much of my kids anymore on the channels, which I'm going to explain in great detail for you, and how is my brother-in-law's shop coming along, which is where we're going to walk to, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised when I update you on how he's doing over there. Newcomers to the channel won't actually notice any difference with my kids or not having kids on this channel because they haven't been on properly, I guess, for a couple of years. There's a bit of B-roll in there and whatnot, but you won't hear them speak on the channel much anymore. And that's because about 4 years ago when we started the channel, things were a little bit different. We were very new to YouTube. We were really documenting our lives, and we hoped that one day the kids could look back and see what their childhood was like and building the house and how they grew up. And we took it as a lot of fun, really. We didn't have many subscribers back then either, so it didn't really matter that they were on the vlog or they weren't. It was more of a personal record. But as time has gone on, our relationship with YouTube has changed. The channel's got a lot bigger, and my eldest son got older, Otis as well. And about a year ago, I said to him from now on he can approve anything that goes on the channel. Now, most of the time Otis spends with me in my room, and so when I'm editing, I ask him, do you want this on or do you not want this on? And he can choose. Usually, around 70% of the time, he doesn't want something on there, and so I don't put it on. But every now and again, there's a little piece of B-roll or something that we film that he's like, yeah, that can go on. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't put my eldest son on. And through doing that, we're also very selective about what we put on with my youngest son. You don't really see them talk much, and they're not the focal point of the channels, nor have they been for a very long time. Really, my content has taken such a deviation from the family stuff that it doesn't really make much difference if the kids are on or they're not. You may even seen also that my wife has taken a back seat to the content, and that's because she's just kind of drifted away from YouTube. She's on with other things. She's on with our other business. She's very focused on our other business, and that is where a lot of our energy is going. One of the other things that happened a year or so ago was the Ruby Frankie case. Some may remember it. She had a channel called 8 Passengers, and her business partner were convicted of major crimes against the children. And what it really did is brought into the public eye the idea of family vlogging. So ideas of consent, children growing up permanently online, pressure to perform, and whether parents can fully separate family life from audience incentives. And this story made us step back and think seriously about privacy and boundaries and what growing up online actually means for some children. Just before we get back to today's vlog, I would like to mention our partners, Surfshark VPN. If you're like me and you travel around a lot, different hotels, airports, cafes and restaurants, you're connecting to many different Wi-Fis. Once you're connected, you get on with business as usual, you send your emails, you do your banking, connect to your socials, and you don't think anything of it. But the reality is you have no idea who else is connected to those networks. It's not about some obvious attack, it's actually the subtle tracking in the background. Your data gets collected, websites build profiles on you and your preferences, and phishing emails can be so convincing that one click can get you into serious trouble. This is exactly why I use Surfshark VPN. I leave it running in the background, it encrypts everything, hides my location, and gives me a peace of mind when I'm connected to any Wi-Fi across the world. But beyond security, I can use Surfshark VPN to access content that would otherwise be restricted, and I can also get better deals while shopping online. Simply by changing my location in the top right-hand corner, I can check that I'm getting the best price available on things like flights and accommodation, and that I'm not being discriminated against based on my location. Surfshark have given me an offer to give to you. It's going to get you 4 months extra. You can simply use my code word BAMBOO at checkout, download the app, or go to www.surfshark.com/bamboo, and that's a money-back guarantee. So if it doesn't work out for you, for whatever reason, you get your money back. I had seen a number of cases like this actually, and even a number of channels where the focal point is on the kids, and I know what it's like, even just doing a weekly vlog, having a focal point on myself, and some of the pressures that raises, and some of the psychological issues that it can raise as well, like knowing that what you're saying is being heard by a large number of people. You're heavily criticized, in many ways. You have to be very careful what you say, and sometimes it can just feel like there's a lot of eyes on you. And even just doing one piece of content a week, when you see a lot of these family channels, many of them are filming the kids every day, or sometimes the kids are even taking control of channels and they are on the screen all the time and they're running their own channels. And it just, to me, especially with my background, my degrees in psychology, I studied child psychology, it just didn't seem healthy. ไปที่ร้านเหรอ มีอะไรครับ
เอาน้ำพริกไปขาย
Oh, มันน้ำพริกใช่ไหม
ใช่
This is Yai's น้ำพริก She makes it every day and she's going to the shop now to sell it. มันชื่อเสียงด้วยใช่ไหมครับ ทุกคนชอบใช่ไหม ขายกี่บาทนะครับ
10 บาท
10 บาท
ใช่
ต้องใช้เวลานานไหมทำ
ไม่นาน
ไม่นาน ครับ So this is another example of tying into the vlog here of the shop and the little successes of the shop. This is Yai going to the shop this morning. I was told by Damo that I've got to be up at about 5:30 to actually see what's going on, so this is her mum going now. So as I was saying, now my kids don't even know that YouTube exists, really. They know that I sit editing for long periods. They don't watch the content anymore. Believe it or not, back in the early days, 4 years ago when we were doing the house, they would all sit in Grandma's room and put the TV on and they would all watch the content because it was focused around the family. There was a lot of music involved and they like to see themselves on the screen. So it's me. But as time's gone on, I think it just brought an unnecessary psychological burden into the family dynamic. I know there are some subscribers, especially like original subscribers to the channel, that really do miss the kids. They tell me in the comments, and so I do stick a bit of an update in there, of course, you know how we're doing as a family. But the channels have deviated very far from family content, and personally I prefer to make more content focused on others now. That's going to interviewing expats and listening to their stories and getting their stories. That's very exciting for me. Like I prefer that. I'm actually sick to death of hearing myself talk. Over the past 4 years, you have to talk. I'm not a very talkative person off camera, believe it or not, but you get sick of hearing your own voice and then editing your own voice, and it's just a dynamic that arises. So interviewing other people for me is exciting, or talking about certain topics in news and economics or topics that I'm passionate about. That's what I prefer from these channels rather than family-based content. And I think when the kids get older, they will have benefited from that. They can still look back and they can see some of the old videos where we were just being silly and building the house and whatnot. But there was also a time where, you know, we phased them out. I wouldn't want my boys to come to me in the future and say, oh, you know, this content affected us in some way, or we felt nervous around the camera, or there was cameras around all the time when we were kids. So I don't want any of that, and now we don't have any of that. So I hope that answers the question. You know, it's not that you'll never see the kids in the videos again. It's just I think they can look back at this content, they can realise that I've been the focal point. Now on to the second part of this vlog. Let's go and take a little look at the shop and see how things are going. I can tell you they're averaging around 3,000 baht a day, which is quite a lot really. And so at around 3,000 baht a day, maybe they're making 30% profit. It's around 900 baht a day, something like that. But the profit hasn't come from just the shop here. It's actually more so the food here that they're selling, the fresh vegetables and Yai's chili sauce. On top of this as well, they set up a barbecue and sell mu ping in the morning. This is the big one. So it's a little bit noisy with the dogs there, but his main income is coming from the mu ping, the pork on a stick, and all of the different fresh vegetables that Yai is growing in the garden, and her famous chili sauce, which I believe is the best seller. Now if they can sustain 900 baht a day, and they can do that for every day, they're open every single day, then they can make 27,000 baht a month hypothetically, and that is enough certainly to live on, considering that my brother-in-law was working for a chicken factory, driving chicken around for 9,000 baht a month. It's not bad that they have that to split between him, his wife and my mother-in-law. But I think, to be honest, my mother-in-law doesn't ask for anything. She is well taken care of, that's for sure, by all of us, because we all love her to bits. And she just does it because she's that kind of person. She likes to do. She's not a lazy person. She likes to make the chili sauce. She likes to help. And so it's a family effort. Now they also live there. He lives there. And so there's no rent. The actual location belongs to his sister who lives in Germany. And then there's just the electricity bill to pay. And obviously some of the small operating costs. He has a few kids of his own as well, so they're going to a government school. There's no bill there. And so the business has turned out that it's not making mega bucks, but it can sustain him here for this kind of lifestyle. If you were a foreigner thinking about doing something like this, to open a little shop like that and think that it would sustain you, very unlikely. As foreigners here, we have a number of other overheads which would eat up a lot of that cash, whether it be the lifestyle that we choose, but also visa costs, health insurance, all the other stuff we go through on the channels, of course. I don't think it's a budget these days that can sustain a foreigner. I will keep everybody updated on the channel about what's going on with the shop here. I'm sure they've got a few other tricks up the sleeve too. I don't know if he's talking about animal food, getting into the animal food game here. Some people don't want to have to drive to go and pick up things like pig food and chicken food. And so there is a market in the village, although the margins are very small. It seems to me that the fresh food, the ready-to-eat food, the food that you get on the go, that has been the big winner for the shop here in the village. I think if they hadn't done that, it may not have worked out. But they did do it, and it seems to have worked out rather well. So that is the update for this channel today. Now it's time to get my eldest son ready for school, take him, do the school run, and the day just gets on like everybody else in the world. It's just another normal day in Thailand.